It can be difficult to manage all the different commitments to family, friends and work, as well as finding the time and energy to spend on hobbies and exercise regimens. But it's important to know that there are things that you can do to stay on top of everything. So today, we're going to look at some ways we can stay motivated with work, training and family commitments. One of the most important aspects for developing and maintaining healthy behaviours is working out where you are on your journey to changing and maintaining that behaviour. And one way that we can do that is by using the stages of change model. And it explains that for any behaviour, we exist in one of 5 stages of readiness for change. That starts with not considering change at all and moves to fully maintaining that change as a lifestyle choice. But in each of these stages, there exist unique challenges that can arise. And sometimes we're going to be able to adapt to those challenges, but other times we're not going to know what to do. And that can stop or halt our change journey. So it's really important to work out where you are so that you can focus on the specific challenges that arise. At the beginning, we have the pre-contemplation stage. During this stage, we are not considering any changes to our lifestyle. While we may not always be happy with the way things are, we don't really see change as an option. And it may be okay that you don't want to change, but if there is some doubt, it might be important to think about, am I aware of the choices that may be negatively impacting my lifestyle at the moment? And if your current lifestyles are causing you trouble or concern, can you take responsibility for the short-term and long-term effects for yourself and your family? If you've answered yes to these questions, then you're not really ready to change yet. But once you've decided that you want to make a change, then you've moved into the contemplation stage. And during the contemplation stage, you've started to think that change might be possible. Maybe you want to spend more time with your friends and family, or maybe you want to get back into exercising again. And although you're thinking that change could be possible, you don't really know how to fit it in with your everyday life. So you've not really taken any actions towards change yet. So to address these questions, let's look in at Remi and Katherine with some similar problems to these.
Now that you've decided on a change, it may be helpful to list the pros and cons.
I guess the pros for putting regular exercise into my day are maintaining my weight. I'd also say sleeping better as well, and eating better because if I know I have to work it off, I will. The cons, I would say, are time away from my family or doing other things I could be doing, and also feeling guilty if I don't actually do it.
It is important to take small steps towards change by not focusing on action, but by weighing the pros and cons of adopting healthy behaviours. So working out why we want to change and why it is worth it, despite the cost, is essential in moving towards actually changing. Once we are mentally prepared to start adopting these changes, we have moved into the preparation stage. And during this stage, we are committed to change, but we haven't really found a way to integrate them with our routine. So maybe we wanted to start exercising, so we bought some runners, but we haven't really gone running yet. During this stage, we want to start making these behaviours more consistent and better integrated with your life so they can become a routine.
Yeah, I think I really don't know how to find an exercise program that's suitable for me. So I probably really do need to consult with some people, maybe some of my friends that were doing the gym with me and stuff as well. I think I need to find a way to commit to the exercise as well. I'm not really sure how to do that, or even if I'll stick to it when I've done it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's very common. What's important is to take baby steps, and it sounds like maybe what you could use is a schedule, and that's important to get right. And what you can do is really plan out your day and plan out your exercise routine. It's important to put gaps in there. So some tasks you think might take longer and might get higher priority. So if you schedule in some gaps around your exercise routine, you're more likely to succeed. You're more likely to actually do them. And also, having a reward at the end of the day is really important, and a healthy reward, something that is going to improve your health and something that's going to make you feel good about your success for that day.
It is important to think about ways to integrate these behaviours with your life that are specific to you. Think about what are some of the obstacles that might stop you. Can these obstacles be changed? Or do you have to find another way to make the time? Again, we're taking small steps, and it may take some time to figure out what works for you and your life. After these behaviours have been implemented into a routine that has been going for under 6 months, we have moved in to the action stage. And during this stage, the routine is set, but we need to think of ways that maintain this routine and avoid stopping it altogether.
So, Katherine, in terms of your home exercise routine, what are you finding that's working for you?
Well, definitely the schedule is working. Like, I feel like I really sort of map out time for the work I've got to do at home and the stuff I've got to do with my family. And I just make sure I've got at least, 30 minutes during the day. I try to make it the same time every day, or at least every 2 days, to do a bit of exercise. And, and yes, having a little reward at the end does help as well. So that's kind of working for me at the moment. Yeah.
Excellent. That sounds really good. It sounds like you're managing to stay on task and do your daily exercise and stick to the routine, stick to the schedule. So I'm also wanting to know, what are some of the obstacles that you're finding?
I guess the main one for me is I sometimes I'm not feeling quite well enough, and also a couple of times I've gone outside and do some exercise, or go for my walk around the block or whatever, and the weather hasn't quite been, it's been like it was raining, and then I was like, oh, what do I, didn't go through with it. So there has been a little bit of self-criticism as well, and that's really kind of pulled down my motivation a little bit on some days, not all days.
That's really good, identifying those obstacles. And those things really have the potential to stop that routine becoming something permanent in your life.
During the action stage, it is important to keep moving forward by focusing on the long-term advantages of staying with the behaviour you've changed. It might be good to set some goals and identify any obstacles that may stop your motivation or the routine from becoming permanent. Now we come to the maintenance stage. We've been doing the behaviour for over 6 months now. It's part of our routine. We don't need to think about it, we just do it. But it's important to remember that even people in this stage can stop the behaviour altogether. Right now, with COVID-19, all our routines have been disrupted, and maintaining our old routines are hard because we have completely new situations to deal with that weren't present when we developed them originally. In situations like this, maybe you need help developing new skills on how this routine will fit in with your life. Maybe part of your routine would have to be modified for your current situation.
Thank you. I'm feeling really good, actually. Everything seems to sort of be going to plan, I guess. The schedule's going well. I'm a bit more flexible with it now, but it's working for me, which is really good. What's going on at the moment for me, I think, is I guess a feeling of isolation, kind of doing it on my own a bit. I know everybody's feeling similar, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are feeling similar. But I'm not quite sure, I'm guessing that's going to impact me long term.
Yeah, absolutely. That can definitely be a long-term obstacle or a long-term difficulty that you're having. And it is important to identify these obstacles. We can start thinking about changes that you can implement now to overcome those obstacles. So what's something that you could think about that could really overcome that obstacle or that difficulty for you?
I've kind of been toying with the idea of getting an online trainer, sort of having someone I need to report back to. So, but yeah, it's more just for the support and maybe some ideas about how to change up my routine and stuff, just to keep it nice and fresh. I think there is some, I guess, emotional difficulties as well. Like I've still got a bit of worry about my family, obviously, with what's happening. I still get a bit down on myself, and there's that bit of a running commentary in the back of my head as well that.
Yeah, absolutely. And with everything going on, it's very important to practice self-compassion, because the self-criticism can really be detrimental to your mental health and in turn your physical health. So it's very important to be aware of that self-criticism and really consciously try and think of being compassionate towards ourselves and a little bit forgiving and a little bit understanding. Self-compassion can really be a building block towards better mental health.
Maintaining a healthy lifestyle is hard, and it's a process. We all have lapses and relapses at different points, and that's okay, because you're learning what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Even if you have to relive some of your mistakes, at least you're moving towards change, and hopefully that's better than no change at all. So just try and do your best and stay positive.